Hello, Squirrel Tribe. So listen, we have an election coming up. We all know it. There's no getting around the fact that politics is huge right now. But there's one thing that I wish these politicians would talk about, and that is what they are going to do to keep people safe from the elements. I'm not talking climate change. I'm not talking any of that kind of stuff. I'm talking what are they going to do to make it so that you can afford your electricity bill, so that you can run your air conditioning in the summer or your heater in the winter? What are they going to do to build more electric grids so that we can, have enough electricity to run our household items without having to pay some stupid extra charge between the hours of 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. during the weekdays, or in the middle of a Saturday or Sunday on the weekends, because these corporations, these companies are greedy and want as much money as possible when we need to be able to use our air conditioning, run the dishwasher, run the washing machine, and do these different things, right? And with the push to have all the electric vehicles, to have everything in your home moved over from gas to electric, you have to wonder what these politicians, whether it is Biden, whether it is Trump, or whoever comes after them, what their plan is to make it so that it is feasible for us to become this entirely electric country that they want us to be. Because right now, if you step back and look at some of these headlines that are going on around the country due to the heat, it is terrifying because our grid is not able to keep up with the temperatures outside. Yeah, we can make changes, global warming this and climate change that. We can make changes there, but the getting rid of plastic bottles in New York. Like New York just did a thing where they've made it so that in New York and in California, they're the only two states now, they are literally outlawing little plastic bottles of shampoo and conditioner in hotels. Okay, cool. Why is that the step that you want to take? How about instead of, focusing on itty bitty plastic bottles, you go, hey, instead of having another junkyard, or instead of having, this land with nothing on it, how about we build another electric grid? How about we do something to actually help the issues that we're facing, as opposed to, bitching and moaning about it and then outlawing the things that don't really make that much of a difference. So the whole reason I was thinking about the weather today is because when I was younger, I watched this show called Alf. I don't know if you ever saw it. Let me show you a picture of it here. Hold on. It's going to be a little bright, but do you guys remember this show, Alf, with the puppet thing that was from outer space, Alf from Outer Space? It was probably one of the dumbest shows I've ever seen, but I absolutely loved it. That and dinosaurs and all different kinds of shows when I was little. This was one that I liked. Well, the little boy from Alf, no longer a little boy, a grown man, was found dead in his car. And let me explain. I read this and it set me off on this whole thing with the heat wave that's going on in our country right now, and why I don't blame it on the sun. I blame it on our politicians and on states and local governances. I feel like that's not the right word. Y'all know how I am with certain words. I don't know the correct one sometimes, but y'all get the gist of what I'm saying. So this, according to this, Benji Gregory, that's the kid from Alf, right? Said that he was found outside of a Chase Bank in Peoria, Arizona, dead in his car. He was discovered June 13th. So this is not new, but it's a headline I saw today. It said that he was there dropping off checks the day before, fell asleep in his car and possibly died from the heat. He also had a service dog with him, was also found dead in the vehicle. How hot does it have to be to fall asleep in the afternoon, sleep through the night, and die, you and your dog? Now, it's possible that it's something else that transpired. They're blaming it on heat right now. But because of what that said, I started looking things up. I was like, what is the heat like lately? I don't know if you guys have seen what's going on in Las Vegas, but they are literally having the heat wave of the century in Las Vegas. So Las Vegas hit record of 5th consecutive day of 115 degrees or greater as a heat wave scorches the U.S. The National Weather Service has been keeping tabs on the weather since 1937. This is the hottest it has been since 1937, since the what's it called? What are they called? The National Weather Service began keeping records at all. This is the highest it's ever been. It says here that they had 4 consecutive days of high weather or high heat in July of 2005, but this is finally breaking that. The city has broken 16 heat records just since June 1st, well before, y'all, the official start of summer. And we're not even halfway through July yet. This is according to meteorologist Morgan Stessman. That includes an all-time high of 120 degrees Fahrenheit, which was set on Sunday. Just this past Sunday, 120 degrees Fahrenheit in Las Vegas. If you have never been to Las Vegas or Nevada in general, it is a very dry heat. There's no humidity. I don't know if that makes it better or worse. I do know that I've been to Las Vegas and you step out and you've gone maybe 5 steps and you don't realize that you are literally pouring sweat because it's dry. It doesn't feel the same as walking out here in Florida. That humidity hits you. So I guess humidity is worse. The humidity hits you and you just feel sticky and gross and whatever else. Well, they are definitely going through it in Las Vegas right now. It's been, according to this, Las Vegas area has been under an excessive heat warning on 3 separate occasions this summer, totaling about 12 days of dangerous heat with little relief even after the sun goes down. Now, the relief is going to be in the casinos, but unless you're gambling or buying something, they're not just going to let you walk in there and stand around. So people are stuck outside, especially think about the homeless population in areas like Las Vegas or those surrounding areas or any cities that are having these heat waves. The homeless population, they can't just go stand inside a Walmart, stand inside a Target. A lot of times they are going to be shooed out, booted out, police called, things like that. And they are at greater risk of having some sort of physical reaction from the heat because they can't get out of the heat the way you and I can. Go jump in your car, crank up the AC. Go into your home, crank up the AC, pay out the butt for it later because everything's so expensive. But these are issues that our country is facing, and Biden and Trump aren't talking about it in a way that I want them to talk about it. I want to hear, Biden had his whole infrastructure bills and all these things that he was going to do for the infrastructure. What has really come of that in the last 4 years? A ton of money has been thrown into infrastructure stuff, but none of it that's actually benefited any of us. A lot of money has benefited the big corporations to build, new battery plants or chip plants or whatever else. Bill Gates built that nuclear plant, Missouri, Michigan, Minnesota. Starts with the M. Now I don't remember which one. I want to say Missouri because they literally kicked people out of town in order to put this plant up. And I feel like it's Missouri. We talked about it months ago and I can't remember where it was. Forgive me on that. But the infrastructure money, tons of money was given to Elon Musk to build chargers throughout the United States for Teslas and stuff like that. And Elon Musk said, kept the money, hasn't really built anything at all. All this money that's gone to infrastructure, but why hasn't it gone to building bigger power grids, more power grids, making it so that we have a better ability of having air conditioning or having our lights not have to be cut off or, rolling brownouts, rolling blackouts, things like that. So another headline I saw that made me, again, think about the heat. And we've talked about the weather before, and there's going to be people who go, oh my gosh, it's nothing new. It's been hot numerous times. Yeah, boo, I get that. But it still sucks when it's this hot, when you're record-breaking hot, and when you also have record-breaking prices in order to keep your AC running. The two things go hand in hand to make it a really shitty situation, plain and simple. So this one here, a 4-month-old baby dies from heat-related illness while on a boat with family in 121-degree heat. Like, are you serious? As parents, it didn't occur to you that taking your 4-month-old out onto a boat when it's 121 degrees, that was probably not the best idea? I don't understand. I don't understand how there are so many people who would give anything to be able to have a baby or have a child or raise a family. And then you have these morons who, were able to procreate just doing dumb shit. And there goes their child because they decided that partying it up on Lake Havasu in 121-degree weather made perfect sense with a 4-month-old baby. Common sense is not common these days. And that is the problem with this country right now. Common sense is just gone, it seems. So this is over 4th of July holiday from heat-related illness. Tana, T-A-N-N-A. Tana? Sounds right. Ray Roblowski died in the tragic incident, according to a GoFundMe page to support the family. Side note, I am so sick and tired of everybody thinking a GoFundMe page needs to be set up anytime something happens. Why? Because you made a stupid decision and something horrible happened, should the population, turn around and give you money because you did something that resulted in the loss of life of your child? No, go get a job. No, we don't. GoFundMe is a stupid thing. Not always. Do not get that twisted. Sometimes it makes sense. But right now, for this, No, you can kick rocks, lady and guy. On July 5th, first responders rushed the baby from a boat on Arizona's Lake Havasu to the hospital for heat-related illnesses, according to the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Temperatures were above 120 degrees Fahrenheit at the lake on that day. All you gotta do is check the weather or just walk outside. Yep, feels hot. Pretty much gives it away. Being out on the lake is not going to be any cooler than being in your home in the air conditioning. And if you don't have air conditioning, go someplace that does. I mean, go walk around, buy a stick of gum somewhere just so you can be inside a store. You know what I mean? Anyway, look at this baby. Look at this beautiful baby. Now, no longer with us because her parents decided that being on a boat in 120 degree weather was more important than keeping a 4-month-old safe. Absolutely ridiculous to me. This is what I want to show you. Look at this. Look at this. This is in Las Vegas. Y'all see that? This is on the 120 degree weather. You see how fast those things melted. All of those crayons just melted because of the heat outside. So according to this is on WNS 10 TV. It's a news station, I'm assuming out of Vegas. What they wrote here, let me see their description. The desert city is on track Wednesday. This was yesterday, to set a record for the 5th consecutive day over 115 degrees amid a lingering hot spell that will continue scorching much of the U.S. into the weekend. A meteorologist says Nevada's largest city is experiencing the most extreme heat wave in the history of record keeping since 1937. Over 142 million people around the U.S. are under heat alerts on Wednesday, yesterday, and through today and the rest of this weekend, especially in the western states. Never eat shredded wheat, never eat soggy waffles, however you want to do it. The west side is having some serious heat issues right now, which I think is an extremely important thing that needs to be talked about. A lot of people don't take into consideration how quickly it gets hot, how quickly you can be overtaken by the heat, how quickly things can go wrong. We have seen numerous times this past week where women have left their children in the car when they've gone inside someplace with the car off or the windows up and just left their children in these hot ass cars. Again, why? The second you leave your child in a hot car and the police have to be called and they come and take your child out of the car, 1, you should not get your child back. 2, you should have your uterus removed so you can't have another one. That's just my thought on that. And agree or not, I don't care. I'm sticking with how I think on that. I tried to look this up. Where is this? Come here. Open. Hold on. My computer's doing stupid computer things. Open. I know you. Hello. Okay, well, it won't get any bigger. That's what she said. So, record heat wave is blamed for several deaths across 6 states. This came out yesterday. No, it came out today, July 11th. I have to use my mom eyes because I can't get this little thing right here to enlarge. So it says, there's no end in sight for the brutal heat wave that's gripping cities from coast to coast, causing nearly 36 deaths in 6 different states. In Texas, this is huge. In Texas, frustrations mount with more than 1 million people facing a 4th day without power in the wake of Hurricane Beryl. This is according to NBC's Aaron something, who was on Today's Show for something. Anyway, Hurricane Beryl, when it hit Texas, was considered a Category 1 hurricane, and it wreaked havoc. Like before, it hit Jamaica and caused a ton of issue there, and then kept going up. And when it hit Texas, Hurricane Beryl, Category 1, obviously it's going to cause issues. I saw some videos and some pictures of cars that were just completely destroyed, homes that were destroyed, trees that were down, power lines down. And now they're saying more than 1 million people are without power this is the 4th day in a row with no power. That means no air conditioning. That means you have a much higher chance of people in Texas that were in that storm of having some sort of heat related issues. We need more. I don't even know how to phrase this. We need more in our cities, especially the ones that we know have these massive heat spells, and also the ones who have those massive cold spells up north, where it gets so incredibly cold that people are freezing to death. And here on the West Coast, you have people, dying from the heat. We need things set up. When these politicians and councils are together and they're figuring out how they're going to spend their money, why aren't they? Think about it. You go to Disney, you go to Six Flags, you go to what else is there? All those theme parks. And they have those little mist areas where you can just go stand and get misted on. Hello, do that. Every city needs to have something like that. Every city should have something where if it's cold out, you can go stand in here and get warm. Like, I feel like with all the money, all the money that our government technically does have, whether it's they don't want to tell us about it or not, but these cities have these rainy day funds. Use them for the people. Use it to keep them safe. Use it to build things that can help, as opposed to doing absolutely stupid things that don't really matter, like putting up one more EV charging station. Who gives a shit? Because the second that Trump wins in November, we're not going to be on this EV kick anymore. You've already got Ford pulling away from it. You've got Porsche pulling away from it. You have Stellantis in general pulling away from EV stuff. We all know that it's not going to be such a huge deal anymore. Quit putting money towards electric whatever and put it towards grids, electric grids, not electric charging stations for your vehicle. Put it towards, like I said, some place where people can go to get out of the heat, get out of the cold, depending on what part of the country you're in. According to this, where is it? I saw this one video. Oh, now it wants to let me click on it. Okay. So when I was scrolling through, I saw this picture and I noticed the American flag immediately draped over this person on a gurney. And I wanted to see what it was. So I watched it. And this is in New York City. A police officer, not a police officer, he was in training. What was he? Probationary police officer in New York City, was set to graduate this week, died from the heat. And of course I looked it up because we talked a couple days ago about how there was a bridge between the Bronx and Manhattan that got stuck turning, and they said it's because the steel expanded because of the heat. Now I did look it up, and the heat in the Bronx and everything, the high has been 93 degrees in the past week and a half, so I'm not quite sure how that made steel expand to where it got stuck, and I don't exactly know how 93 degrees killed this man, unless he was in his vehicle, he was stuck in some place that didn't have, any sort of airflow. Maybe that's possible, but it is happening. And it sucks that it's happening to 4-month-olds. It sucks that it's happening to 46-year-olds. The guy from Alf that I talked about in his car. Think of how many people live in their cars right now because of everything that's happened over the last few years. And they're relying on their vehicles to keep them safe from the elements. But you can't run your car the whole time in order to keep the AC going because gas is expensive. And there's all these issues that we have, and as a country I feel like we're not focusing on the right issues. We're focusing on giving all of our money to Ukraine. We're focusing on protesting, whatever war is happening over here. We're focusing on spending money on campaigns for whatever. How about we focus as a country on doing things to keep our citizens safe, to keep, you know what I mean? Like it feels like common sense to me, but maybe not. Let's see. Oh, in Nevada, okay, we talked about in Las Vegas. It hit 120 degrees on Sunday. Nearly 24 people were treated at a local burn center for pavement burns last month. Can you imagine? One, don't be barefoot on the pavement in Las Vegas. Ew. Just ew in general, because people spit everywhere. It's just, not good. But burns on the bottom of your feet. A lot of people aren't thinking about their animals. You take your dog out to pee and poop and run around and do their business, not thinking about the fact that if it's a 93 degrees, feels like 103 to us, imagine what the concrete feels like or the asphalt feels like on their paws. My dog looks real stupid with his little booties on when we go out, but I'd rather him look stupid than his paws have some sort of blisters or burns or whatever else. And he walks real dumb. He doesn't really know how to do it. He's like stomping around. He's like a horse. It's really weird, but it keeps his paws safe, and that's what matters. Same thing for you and I. Keep shoes on your feet when you go out. Don't go out barefoot. Yes, walking in the grass and things like that is great for you health-wise, to be barefoot, to get, connect with nature. But when nature's over 100 degrees on the bottom of your feet, it's not a good idea. I say don't do it. So then I also looked up, out of curiosity, where you live affects your electricity rate. I was curious what electricity rates are like for people right now, because over the past couple of years, a lot of states have implemented the whole peak pricing, right? When you're home is when they want to charge you more to run your electricity, which includes your air conditioning. So according to the latest data available from EIA, which I don't even know what that stands for, the average residential U.S. electricity price in April of 2024, just a couple months ago, was 16.88 cents per kilowatt hour. The national average increased 4.8% compared with the previous year. So each year we're paying more to get the same amount of electricity, right? Because instead of expanding the grid, they just want to charge us more. Instead of making it so that there's a certain amount of people per grid. They're just letting a whole bunch more people in the country to use the grid, and they're doing nothing to keep up with the population. They're doing nothing to keep up with the use. They're doing nothing to ensure that the grids aren't going to completely fail next summer. Because you got to think, if every summer we're getting a little bit hotter, if it's 120 degrees this summer in Vegas for, 4 days in a row, imagine what next summer is going to be like. Do you think they're going to fix the electric grid so that people can be safer next summer? No, because they use that money for other dumb shit that doesn't matter, like $50 waste baskets or trash baskets on Air Force One, or just all kinds of extremely stupid stuff that makes absolutely no sense to me. So in April 2024, Utah paid the lowest average residential electricity rates in the country at 11.07 cents per kilowatt hour. Hawaii paid the highest at 45.19 cents per kilowatt hour. That is crazy to me how high that one is. Utah, I don't know why they're so low. Maybe because they have a more even temperature throughout the year, possibly. I'm not quite sure, but yay for Utah for keeping the rates low for the people. Everywhere else is extremely expensive, it seems. But the heat, the weather is something that we need to focus on. And I think our politicians need to really understand that it is a topic of concern for a lot of people. Because just because you have, my hair's all on my face now. Just because you have air conditioning in your home doesn't mean you can afford to run it, right? Just because you have a car doesn't mean you can afford to sit in it and let the AC run forever. So there are issues, and the best thing that could happen for us would be for the politicians, especially the ones who want to be president, Biden or Trump, the ones who want to be vice president, whether you're talking about Kamala or anybody over there, Newsom, or you go over to, the right side and Byron Donalds, you've got Marco Rubio, you've got, what's her name? Big Gretchen Whitmire? I don't know how to say her last name. All these different people, they all need to understand that the platform of the electric grids needs to be on the forefront of everybody's mind. My personal opinion. And I just wanted to have this conversation with y'all. Thank y'all for letting me have this conversation. I might have got a little irate a couple times, but it's because I don't understand why we know that our power grids are an issue. And that's the one thing that everybody seems to just, oh, look over there. They squirrel off and don't pay attention to it and never get back to the fact that that's an important part of our infrastructure that needs to be addressed. So that's that. All right, SquirrelTribe. I love y'all. Hope you have a fabulous rest of your day, and I hope you're able to stay cool wherever you are. And if your city has implemented something that helps the citizens stay cool in the summer or warm in the winter, I would love to know about it personally. Our city here, nothing. Like some of the shopping centers, they do water spouts and stuff that the kids can go run through during the summer, which I would just go sit in the water. I'm not even gonna lie. If you're hot, just go sit in water somewhere. But I don't think they do anything in the winter. I mean, it gets cold here, but not like cold, but there's still a homeless population that needs to get out of the elements. But I don't think they really do anything here. And I'm curious if maybe your city does. So if you wouldn't mind dropping it in the comments, that's about it for now. I love you all. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.